Hi, hi, it's Craig from Scratch at 50, and welcome to the first live video from the new studio that's been built for the channel. The whole idea of this is that we can do some live videos. There's going to be a live podcast every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock London time, and that's going to be called the Golf Week That Was, and we'll talk about everything that's happened across all levels of golf in the previous week. So that's going to be on a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. And then if there's been any other sort of newsworthy news within the golfing world, then I'll probably jump on here and do a quick, try and react to it as quickly as possible. But the whole idea is that you can get involved in the live comments. That's what I really, would like. The whole idea of doing it live and not just recording it and posting it as a video is so people can get involved. So today we're going to just have a quick show about the official world golf ranking points. So this has been in the news a lot in the last, well, probably the last sort of like 10 months now, and mainly because of the emergence of live golf, which we'll get into a little bit later. But really, yesterday, Cameron Smith came out and basically said that the world rankings were now obsolete. So do you agree with that or not? I don't know. I've got his actual quote here. So for sure it hurts, said the 29-year-old Australian who won the Claret Jug in July and joined the Live circuit as a culmination of the PGA Tour season late August. I was really close to getting to number one, and that was definitely something I wanted to tick off. When you rock up at a tournament, you know who you have to beat, whether there is a world ranking or not. There is generally 7 or 8 guys that are in the field that you know are going to put up a pretty good fight. So what he's saying is really, and like the counter argument to this is because Cam Smith has joined a tour that no longer has the ability for him to earn world ranking points, it could come across that it's a little bit of sour grapes. But there is a definite argument to say that the official world golf rankings is, first of all, it's not working, and second of all, it's not accurate. And the thing is, if the official world golf ranking points aren't accurate, it becomes obsolete. It absolutely survives on its accuracy. So when someone like Cam Smith comes out and says this, I've got some other quotes here as well. John Rahm recently came out and said that the official world golf rankings was laughable. Tiger Woods said it was flawed. Rory McIlroy said it was imperfect. And now Cameron Smith's come out and said it's obsolete. I mean, if that was a business and they were people at the very top of that field, and that's what they were saying about your business, I think you'd go out of business pretty quickly, to be fair. So, we've got a message. So, Jay Hagler from Tampa, welcome. You can go down in history as the first person who posted a comment on any live video on the Scratch at 50 channel. So, I don't think it's going to make you tremendously famous, but certainly I'll remember that you were the first person to come on and post a. So, thanks for joining the show tonight. So, back to the official world golf ranking points. So, there's a few things here, isn't there? First of all, it's like before we even get into the live golfers and the effect that they've had on the ranking system, let's just talk about the ranking system itself. I'm actually going to go through John Rahm's tournament stats since August last year. So I've got it all up here on the screen. So he came tied 5th. These are all consecutive tournaments, by the way. He had tied 5th at the St. Jude Classic. That was in August. He then had a tied 8th at the BMW Championship, tied 15th at the Tour Championship. Then on the European Tour, he was tied 2nd at the BMW PGA, which is the flagship event on the DP World Tour. He then won the Spanish Masters, and then he won the Dubai DP World Tour Championship. If I quickly go then to this year's results. To follow on from that, he then came tied 4th at the CJ Cup, won the tied 8th at the Hero Challenge, won the Century, won the American Express, and came tied 7th at the Farmers. I mean, that is an absolutely incredible run of form and should be collecting an absolute shed load of world ranking points. Yet he actually went from 5th to 3rd, I think he is now. But for a long time during that run, he's 3rd. A long time during that run, his ranking didn't even move. And then you've got Cameron Smith, who hasn't been able to pick up a ranking point on the Live Tour since August last year. And at one point in that period there where John Rahm hasn't moved, even though he's been putting in those results, Cameron Smith went from third to second without actually teeing it up in an official world golf ranking tournament. I mean, it would seem that, this this system is just not working at all. The fact that John Rahm's had that run of form and he's only third in the listings. Now, I've done a little bit of research on this, and there seems to be that since they brought in this new point system, the way it's working, that they seem to be saying that it needs 2 years for it to all shake out and kind of show where everyone's ranking is. I don't think I don't think that the world ranking system's got 2 years. I really don't. I think if it continues to be thought of as being obsolete, and if it gets to a point where a player gets to number one in the world and people just think, so what? It doesn't matter because such and such isn't playing in it. Such and such isn't playing in it. You've got. We'll get onto the live golf thing in a minute, and we're only going to talk about the ranking points on that today. But if you're not ranking all of the world's golfers in an accurate way, and then you've got a whole bunch of golfers that aren't being ranked at all, then your system is on very dodgy ground indeed. And if at some point the majors or someone turns around, or someone might even start up a new ranking system, there's nothing to stop that from happening. By the way, uh, but the majors could just say at any point, okay, this system isn't working now. This isn't actually an accurate way. This isn't showing the world's golfers in actually where they are ranked in the world. So we're not going to use that now as an entry into our tournament. And they could do something like, okay, so top, all exempt players get in, so past champions and all that kind of stuff. Uh, other major winners will get in. All those exempt players will get in. Then they could say, this is just me thinking out loud, by the way. They could then say like the top 50 on the PGA Tour automatically qualify, and then the top 30 on the DP World Tour qualify, and the top 10 on the Live Tour automatically qualify, and just come up with a qualifying criteria that covers all of the places where all of the world's golfers are playing, and have a way for them to enter the tournament. There's no need, in my opinion, there's no need for an official golf ranking system, and there's certainly no need for one that isn't working. So, tell me in the comments whether you think that, we need a official golf ranking system. This video is going to get posted up, afterwards as well. So if you've missed it while we've been doing it live, then, you can put your comment in later. Jeff Cunningham, can I ask, does the tournament have the same amount of points? No, it doesn't. So again, the points were all changed, and that's why we're in this kind of state of flux at the moment. And it would appear that it's been loaded too far into the PGA Tour events. So I think I'm right in saying, like, if you played an Asian Tour, so what they're saying is now, if you're playing on the Asian Tour, there is absolutely mathematically impossible for you to play your way onto the PGA Tour. So that pathway from the Asian Tour is no longer there now. And that is because the amount of points that you get for winning or doing well in an Asian Tour event has been absolutely slashed. I don't want to go on record of what it is, but I think it was something like you used to get 40 points and now you get like 15. I mean, just a huge loss. So that would mean you think of some of the amazing players that have come through the Asian Tour and made it onto the DP World Tour. There's Sungway Kim and Tom Kim. I'm sure he probably came through that pathway. There's a lot of these South Korean players that are on the tour now that are, amazing players, and I've found that pathway from the Asian Tour. Now that's not possible. The DP World Tour events have also had their points lowered, and that's part of the reason why early on in this, when we went through John Rahm's points that he picked up, because a lot of those results and his wins were on the DP World Tour, he wasn't amassing enough points to actually get, any worthwhile ranking points to actually make a difference to his ranking. Yet, one of the real sort of like seminal moments in this was when he played in the DP World Tour Championship. Okay, so that field was absolutely stacked. It was stacked. Rory was playing, Fitzpatrick was playing, all the stars of the European DP World Tour were playing, but also Morikawa was playing. There was some big PGA Tour players there as well. And then there was another tournament on at the same time on the PGA Tour that was kind of one of the lesser events, and there wasn't really any. I think Tony Finau was the only sort of major player who was playing in it, and there was more points being awarded to that PGA Tour event that was being ordered to the DP World Tour Championship. When actually that event was far harder to win because of the strength of field. So they've definitely, got it wrong, and they're in danger here. Like I said, their survival, is basically around them being accurate and being relevant. The moment they're not relevant, they could just, be dispensed with very, very quickly. So, there's another. So we have to get onto the live golfers now. So we are going to speak about live on a lot of these programs. So I know it does. People have got very, very strong opinions on live golf, and I totally get it. We're just going to concentrate on live as a golf product. I'm not going to get involved in any kind of politics or anything like that. If you want to talk about that, then go and do it on another site somewhere else, because that's not what this is about. It's a golf podcast. These are golf shows, and they're just about talking about golf. Uh, but the official World Golf Ranking System hasn't yet obviously awarded Live Golf any points. And the reason for that is that they've got this criteria in place that you have to be a tour for 3 years. You have to earn your stripes for 3 years. You have to be there is something in there about having 72 hole tournaments and having a cut and all this kind of stuff. So obviously that was a massive problem for Live Golf, because they're 54 hole tournaments and there's no cut. So uh, it gave the official World Golf Ranking points a very, very easy sort of excuse for not giving Live Golf World Ranking points straight away. But the problem is that criteria that they set up was set up because the tours that were waiting to new tours that were waiting to get world ranking points were just small tours. They were tiny tours that wouldn't have any players that would make any difference to the official world golf ranking uh, accuracy at all. So that criteria actually worked really well. The problem was Live Golf came along, and within literally 6 months, and I've got the stats here of where all the golfers were at the start of 2022 in the official world golf rankings. Live took 28% of the top 50 golfers by the time they played their fifth event last year. So by the time they got to their fifth event, 28% of the top 50 golfers in the world, as of where they were at the start of 2022, had left to go and play this tour. If you lose 28% of your top 50 golfers, and then you've not got anything in place to start ranking those golfers, because you're basing it on a criteria that was never based on a tour coming along. Liv has come along and just caught everyone on the hop big time, not just the world golf rankings, but in a lot of other circumstances as well. And whether you love Liv or you hate Liv, the fact is it's here for the foreseeable future. Whether it's got a long term future, we don't know. At the moment, it's impossible for us to tell. But if you've got 28% of the top 50 golfers gone, and you're going to stick there and just say, no, sorry, we've got a criteria, you've got to wait 3 years. You can't wait for 3 years to have 28% of the top 50 golfers waiting to get rankings and expect to be relevant and expect to still have, people taking an interest in your rankings. It's absolutely preposterous. It's absolutely bonkers. So I expect Live Golf to get world ranking points in the pretty near future, because if they don't, the official world golf ranking system is literally just putting a noose around its neck, and it may as well go and hang itself in the loft now. Because there's your Cameron Smiths, your Dustin Johnsons, your Brooks Koepkas, your Bryson DeChambeau's. These are still great golfers, and if they start drifting into 100, 200 in the world, then people are just going to, basically just not take it seriously whatsoever. So I think, what Cameron Smith has said, that the world golf rankings is obsolete. We're probably not quite there yet completely, because at the end of the day, Cam Smith's still ranked number 4 in the world. I mean, I'll just go down the listings here. Let's just see where we can find the live golfers. So Cameron Smith's number 4. Make sure that Jochen Neiman is 23. Got to make sure I don't miss any here and just remember exactly who is on that tour. Adrian Answer is 37. Taylor Gooch is 42. Dustin Johnson is 46. I mean, we all know that Dustin Johnson is not the 46th best player in the world, and he's going to keep going down unless Liv start getting world golf ranking points at some point. Aravana the third is 48th. Jason Kokrak is 54. Kevin Nahr is 56. Patrick Reed is 57. I mean, I'm starting, the golf week that was podcast on Tuesday. I wish it was last Tuesday to talk about what went on that week in Dubai with Rory and Patrick. I mean, thinking that you could have sat here for about an hour and a half talking about all that shenanigans going on. But like it again, like it or lump it, and like Patrick Reed does absolutely nothing to make himself likable whatsoever. His actions are just strange to say the least a lot of the time. But he's a great golfer. You know what I mean? I mean, I'll say one thing for him: to turn up at a tournament where the number one golfer in the world completely shuns you in front of the cameras, and the tournament don't want you there. The sponsors probably don't want you there. The TV company don't want you there. Some of the players don't want you there. I'm sure there's a lot of players there who actually aren't too fussed about it. I think to say that all the players don't want the live golfers there is not true. Uh, but with all that going on, to then actually play golf of that standard, I mean, you've got to have skin like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. You know what I mean? To not be bothered by it. I mean, look at Sergio Garcia. He went to the PGA Championship at Wentworth. Sergio just wants to be loved. He's always been loved. He's always been popular. He's always turned up and the crowds adore him and they love him. He turns up at Wentworth and gets a frosty reception from a bit of the gallery and a few of the players. He couldn't handle it. He does one and then turns up, after round one, does one and then turns up at an American football match in America, which, doesn't seem to resonate with him. And that's actually going to make you even more unpopular. Uh, Sergio cares about what people think about him, and he doesn't want to be unpopular. Patrick Reed does not care. He does not care. He is not bothered one little bit about what people think, and he is a great golfer. So again, to be ranked at 72 in the world, so these golfers are going to just keep dropping down the rankings, which is just going to make it, you know, even worse for the world golf ranking points, as in them staying relevant. Now, of course, the next thing is, let's just say that they do award the live golfers official world golf ranking points, which they're going to have to for reasons I've already said. How many points are they going to give them? That is the key thing here. You know, let's I don't know exactly what the point system is on the PGA Tour, 'cause it's all different depending on how big the tournament is and the field and the strength of the field and stuff like that. But you've got to be thinking that if a PGA Tour event gets 80 points, for example, what is a Live Tour event going to get? Is he going to get half that? Is he going to get 40 points? Is he going to get less than that? Is there going to be enough points for a Live golfer to stay up in the rankings just because they're not getting awarded enough? These are all things that the official World Golf Ranking Points as a body, and you've got to remember the people who are on the board of this also stinks a little bit. You've got Jay Monahan from the PGA Tour, Keith Pelly from the DP World Tour. Now, they have come out and said that they have, in the decision about awarding Live Golf points, then they have took a back seat. They cannot be involved in that because obviously it is in their interest not to get awarded, for Live not to get awarded points. But you've got to be thinking that they've got some influence there to possibly make sure that Live don't get as many points as they'd like. Allegedly, that's me just saying that. I might be wrong. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Live are going to get Do you think Liv are going to get a fair, you know, a fair hearing when it comes to the points? So, Jay Hagler, live tournaments are a lot of fun to be spectator at. The players they have are fun to watch. Wouldn't matter to me what place they are in the ranking. They're still amazing to watch. I agree. I watched all of the live events last year on TV because and it was because I was just curious to see what they were going to be like. And I'm going to do another show on live, so that's going to be coming soon, and we're really going to deep dive into the whole live golf thing and what I think is good about it and what I think is not so great about it. But they have got a good product. Anyone who says there isn't, I know. The thing is with this, it's like the thing that I find really interesting in this dynamic is that you seem to have to take a side, and I don't get that at all. I just like watching great golfers play golf, and there's great golfers on the Live Golf Tour. There is. You look at that now. There's like certainly the first 2/3 of that field is strong, and the last third is not strong. That's where its weakness lies, and obviously they're going to be trying to recruit and make that last third as strong as possible as well. But their product, I don't know whether you saw the trailer that they put out for their when they announced their results for the 2023 season. I mean, the production values on that is off the scale, man. I mean, don't you go onto YouTube, put in Live Golf 2023 and find that trailer. I mean, if you don't watch that and feel pumped up about watching golf, then you know you're missing a heartbeat because it looked they did an absolutely stellar job on that, and there's no doubt about it. There's a totally different vibe to what Live Golf does to what PGA Tour, and that's good because there's still people, including me, by the way, who loves watching the PGA Tour. We've got the iconic PGA Tour events coming up now with Riviera, and then the AT&T's on at the moment at Pebble Beach. These are just like amazing historic events, and we mustn't lose them. They've got to stay. But Live Golf is offering something completely different, and the people who like the PGA Tour aren't going to like Live, and the people who actually like Live are probably going to find the PGA Tour a bit boring. For me, that's a good thing because we've got to just try and attract more people across the spectrum to the game of golf. Uh, but what you're saying there is, the players, they're fun to watch. Wouldn't matter to me if what place they are in the ranking. Well, no, you're right because you know when you're watching those players that you're still watching great golfers play golf. But the problem for them is they need to be able to qualify for majors. Make no bones about it. Yes, they've took the money. Yes, they've gone and played on this, what people call the exhibition tour. Uh, but these accusations that these guys are not competitive now, they're just going through the motions, they're not bothered about winning, they're just picking up the paycheck. Absolute rubbish. I mean, absolute rubbish. You don't get to be a sportsman at that level and lose that competitive instinct. It just doesn't happen. Okay, these guys want to win, and they want to win majors. And unfortunately, if they don't, if they're not able to start earning world ranking points pretty soon, then they're not going to be qualifying for majors, and then there's going to be a bit of a problem. They can obviously go to qualifying. They'll be able to go to the qualifying and try and qualify for the majors, apart from the Masters, obviously. But for the US Open, and the USPGA, certainly on the Open and the US Open, not sure about the PGA. Let me know in the comments if you know whether you can qualify for the other three majors apart from the Masters. Again, if I just go back to these world rankings here, bear with me, where are we? So let's go a bit further down. Who's really, really getting low now? Let's get down to about 100. Here we go. Bryson DeChambeau, great example. He's currently 96 in the world. And, for a lot of the qualifying criteria for majors, you need to be in the top 50. So, Bryson's obviously got his US Open win, which gives him exemption for 5 years in the majors. So he's okay for another 2 or 3 years. But he's not going to be qualifying for majors soon unless he can start earning world ranking points. So, there's two things here. Yes, the world ranking system has got to give Liv points at some point, but how many points are they going to be? And is it going to be enough for someone like Bryson DeChambeau, who's currently 96th, to go on a tear and have an amazing run of results, but actually be able to earn enough points to actually get back up near the top 50 to start getting into the majors? Who knows? I mean, we're going to find out in the pretty near future, I'm sure. Uh, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Uh, Padre just tuned in there. I think Live Tour, very strong field, and for me, the number one player in the world. Cameron Smith won 5 events worldwide last season. They need to be able to play the majors. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people. I mean, Rory McIlroy is a phenomenal golfer. I mean, when you watch him play, the thing that always just absolutely knocks me sideways with Rory is his balance. Just like the way he holds that finish and he hits the ball so hard. That is like I just every time I see it, it just like I'm just like wow, that's incredible. Uh, but I don't think you can deny that Cameron Smith is was the best player last year. Won the Players, won the Open, won another 3 events, went to Live, won an event on Live. Again, there's some good players on Live. Uh, so yeah, I agree. I think that Cameron Smith was the best player in the world last year. Uh, Again, he's got his Open Championship win, hasn't he? So he's going to be exempt in the majors for a good while yet, and he'll probably be okay. His ranking probably won't slip too far by the time that Liv get awarded points, and he'll probably be able to stay up pretty high in the rankings. Christian Smith, I know that is. Unfortunately, the splintering of the top players across the PGA and Liv means majors when they're further ahead of the regular tour events. Yeah, you're right. The thing now is that the majors have been. I mean, obviously the majors have always the majors and the Ryder Cup have been the two, the two or the five biggest events. Probably the Players Championship as well, but even that's lost a bit of its sheen now because not all of the best players are at the Players, and the defending champion isn't going to be there this year, so that's going to definitely lose a little bit of its sheen. But the majors were always, when the Masters comes round and the Open in particular, they're the two for me. Uh, I'm sure the US Open is, really special to a lot of the people over in the US. But they were the events. Whereas now they've been, I mean, they must be rubbing their hands together because they're the only 4 times now that all of the world's best golfers are going to be at the same place on the same golf course, competing against each other. The Masters is going to be pretty spicy because there's, like it's been reported, hasn't it? The Champions Dinner. I mean, please, someone get a spy camera in that room, please. I just want to see Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods and see whether they actually talk to each other or not. Uh, so yeah, for sure, the majors are going to be even bigger than what they've been in the past. I saw something on that Phil Mickelson tweeted on Twitter recently when someone suggested about a PGA versus Live Ryder Cup event. It's never going to happen. Well, it's certainly not going to happen in the near future. But if it did happen, that would be the biggest thing. Don't get me wrong. I love the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup is a phenomenal event. But I think even that would absolutely, you know, be above the Ryder Cup if the Live and the PGA played in a team event. Uh, but I just don't see how it's going to happen. Uh, if it did happen, then it would be absolutely incredible. I mean, there's this court case going on at the moment, isn't there, where the DP World Tour is trying to stop these Live golfers from playing in their events. Why? Why? Why are they doing that? The DP World Tour has been in decline for so long. I very rarely watch a DP World Tour event. But I'll tell you what, 2 weeks ago, when they were playing in Dubai and Reed and Poulter and Bland and Wiesberger and, Westwood and whoever else, I tuned in and that whole thing between Reed and McIlroy, you know, that that put interest in that event way higher than it's ever been before. You know what I mean? So I can understand it because there's obviously been sides taken here, but just purely from getting eyeballs on your DP World Tour events, there's far more chance of that happening if there's live golfers taking part because it adds a lot of spice to the event. The one that's on at the moment, I've not really even bothered watching it too much, to be honest, because obviously all the live golfers are over playing in the Saudi Invitational. Uh, so, Jay, again, I've thought from the beginning that they need a Ryder Cup format between PGA and Live. Yeah, it would be amazing. It absolutely would, but I just don't think I can't see it happening. Can you? Can you really see that happening? Uh, maybe you know when these first thing's got to happen. These court cases have got to be sorted out, hasn't there? I do think eventually the golfing world is going to come back together in some way. I don't think it's going to stay fractured forever. There's going to be a period here for sure where we're going to have this them and us situation. But I do think at some point, and how that's going to look, I'm not sure. The thing is, the PGA Tour has missed their opportunity. Their opportunity was right when before Liv got going and Liv wanted to open up a dialogue with them. In hindsight, them turning that down now has actually been a catastrophic decision because at that point, the PGA Tour held all the cards. They held all the players at that time, and Liv just wanted a place at the table. So if the PGA Tour said, "Okay, we'll reschedule our events and we'll run from February through till August, and then the Live Tour can go through the fall, autumn, through winter, you know, in between that period." I think the Live Tour would have accepted that, and we'd obviously be in a lot different place now. But we're we're too far down the line now, and unfortunately, Live has strengthened its position to a point now where it feels like it can make a success of this without actually coming having any kind of partnership with the PGA Tour, which means that trying to find some kind of uh, level ground between the two is going to be even more difficult to find, and especially with everyone on the PGA Tour side saying that Greg Norman has to go, and Liv's reaction to that seems to have been that they've actually strengthened Greg Norman's position. Now, what we don't know there is whether that's happened by actually appointing him there, or it's because a lot of people have left. High-ranking officials seem to have left Liv in the last sort of 2 months, and maybe that's what strengthened Greg's position. I don't know, but it certainly seems like that they're putting everything behind Greg Norman. So the chances of him, exiting stage left to allow Rory and Tiger to then try and open up some kind of dialogue is, doesn't look like it's going to happen. So, Jay, TV rights would be huge in dollars. Yeah, actually. So my next video is going to be on Live Golf, and I'm very fortunate that I have got someone who gives me a little bit of inside information. It's someone who's around the players. Obviously, will remain completely unknown as a source, uh, but has given me some really interesting information on what's coming up with Live. It's not players related. That seems to have gone very quiet, so no one quite knows what's going there. But certainly around around TV and some other stuff. He managed to give me some great little snippets, and I'll be able to share that in the next video. So I'm going to wrap. I'm going to wrap this up now. I think you know we've covered it all. I think Cameron Smith's right. The official world golf ranking system is very close to being thought of as being obsolete. They need to give Liv some golf ranking points. Those ranking points need to be enough that those players can at least stay around or move up the rankings. Uh, they need to, you know, award the Asian Tour, some extra points. They've took far too many off them. You can't have it where that's no longer a pathway to the PGA Tour. We can't have the next Tom Kim not able to make that his way through because the ranking system is stopping him from doing it. So I think we'll see. Uh, we will see a lot of announcements and a lot of changes. I mean, if Tiger Woods is saying that it needs to be changed and he's called it flawed, I mean, he is still the most powerful person in golf as a voice. So I would expect that we're going to hear something from the official World Golf Ranking Board, uh, probably around Live getting awarded points and changes to the system as well, I would have thought. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for taking part in the first live video. Like I say, I've set all of this up so, I'll be able to do this type of stuff. If something happens, some kind of news, I'll be able to come in here, react to it really quickly, get this is great. Thank you to everyone who's got involved. I wasn't expecting anyone to get involved on the first one, to be honest. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to Jay Hagler, Jeff Cunningham, Padraig, and Chris. Thanks for taking part. I really appreciate it. It really does make a difference. That's the reason I'm doing it live, is so people can actually get involved uh, and be a part of it. If you just record a podcast and put it out, everything is, reactive after the event, whereas actually this is interactive, and that's what I wanted it to be. Uh, so, like I say, the golf week that was podcast will be every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, and that'll be talking about everything from the past week in the world of golf. And then if there's something that's worthy, or I've found out some juicy news, or I've got something to share, then I'll jump on here with a live video, as quickly as possible, and then get you involved and let me know your thoughts on what that topic might be. Okay, thanks again. And I've got some content coming up. I have done some filming last week. Did some filming with two golf fitness experts, all about flexibility exercises, which, trust me, I need so bad, and that's the reason why I did these videos. Got a ton of content. It was supposed to be one video. It's ended up being 3 videos, all about increasing rotation in your hips, increasing your flexibility, getting your correct posture, spine angles, exercises to help you with that. Really, really good stuff. So that's going to be coming soon. I've also done the video for announcing the match, where can get involved in that and take part in a video this year. Well, I'll come to your golf club and have a match. So that's going to be going out, I think, at the end of February. So still going to be doing stuff out on the golf course, but also I'll be doing a lot of stuff from in here as well. Okay, great stuff. Thanks for taking part, and I'll see you in the next video.